"Can I eat with you?" the homeless boy asked the millionaire. Her response left everyone in tears. The soft clinking of silverware mixed with quiet voices as golden candlelight flickered through the Golden Oak, the city's most expensive restaurant. The air smelled rich: roast beef, warm bread, smoked buttery mac and cheese. Everything sparkled. Everything was perfect. But a little boy stood alone in the distance, barefoot, shivering, hungry. And in just a few moments, his tiny voice would stop the whole world for a while. At a quiet corner table, Teresa Reed sat alone. Late 30s, dressed in silk, polished from head to toe, the kind of woman people whispered about, wealthy, powerful, untouchable. In front of her sat plates of food she didn't even glance at: tender steak, sweet cornbread, golden biscuits. Her hands scrolled endlessly through emails on her phone. But inside, she felt empty, cold, tired in a way no money could fix. She had everything, and somehow it meant nothing. Meanwhile, outside the Golden Gates, that little boy, his name was Eli, hugged himself against the cold. His hoodie tattered and too big for his frail figure. His feet were bare. His stomach growled, ached so badly it hurt to breathe. He'd been standing there for over an hour, watching, waiting, hoping someone, anyone, might notice him, might give him the leftovers from their untouched plates, but no one even looked his way. When a waiter tossed a tray of half-eaten food toward the trash, Eli crept forward. Just a step. "Hey, get out of here!" The man shooed him away. "Go on, get moving. Filthy little street kids don't belong here." The words stung, but Eli didn't run far. Hunger keeps you brave even when the world's been cruel. And then he saw her, the lady in the silk dress, sitting all alone with plates of food she didn't touch. He whispered to himself, barely a breath, "Just ask, just once." He wiped his nose on his sleeve, took a deep breath, and barefoot, shaking, he stepped onto the shining marble patio. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Forks froze midair. Conversations stopped. "Where did he come from?" someone whispered. "Why isn't security doing something?" another muttered. The manager stormed over, his shiny shoes clicking on the stone. His face was tight with anger. "Little boy," he barked, "you don't belong here. Leave, now." But before the man could grab him, Eli stepped forward. His big brown eyes locked on Teresa. His voice trembled. "Ma'am, can I eat with you?" The words were barely more than a whisper, but somehow they echoed across the courtyard. Everything, everyone, stopped. The waiter froze. The manager blinked. The diners held their breath. Teresa looked up from her phone. At first she was startled. Then something deeper stirred. She saw him, really saw him. The dirt on his cheeks, the way his thin arms clutched that ragged hoodie, the sadness in his eyes. "Ma'am," the manager said again, sharper now, "should I call security?" Teresa didn't answer right away. Her heart felt strange, tight. Memories she'd buried long ago came rushing back. She knew what hunger felt like, before all this ivories and dimes. She used to sleep in subway tunnels and eat people's leftovers. Richness had not come easy to her. Years ago, a wise old man had noticed her. She was taken in, given proper meals and education. With a lot of struggle, she was here. Ever since, she vowed she would always pass on the kindness once she was given. She knew what it meant to be invisible. Her voice came out louder than she meant. "No." The manager blinked. "Excuse me?" "Bring another plate," she said, standing up. Her voice was steady now. "The best you have, and bring it quickly." The boy's eyes widened. "Really?" he whispered. Teresa knelt down, so she was eye level with him. "Really? What's your name, sweetheart?" "Ely," he whispered shyly. She gave him the softest smile. "Come on, Ely. Tonight, you're my guest." The manager stood frozen. A few diners exchanged sharp whispers. One woman gasped, another scoffed. "Is she serious?" someone murmured. "A millionaire? Sharing her table with him?" But Teresa didn't flinch. She pulled out the chair beside her and patted the seat gently. "Sit down, sweetheart," she said softly. "You're safe here." Eli's small hands trembled as he climbed into the chair. His eyes darted around the patio as if any moment someone might yank him away. "Don't worry," Teresa whispered. "I won't let that happen." She looked up sharply at the waiter still standing nearby. "Warm bread," she said firmly. "Right away. And something hot to drink." The waiter nodded, stunned, and hurried off. The people around them kept watching. Some shook their heads in disapproval. Others just stared, silent, uncomfortable. Teresa could feel their eyes on her, but she didn't care. She remembered too well what it was like to be looked through, to feel like nothing. Not tonight. When the bread came, soft, warm, golden brown, Eli's hands shook as he reached for it. He hesitated. "Go ahead," Teresa urged gently. "There's plenty. Take your time." The first bite made his eyes fill with tears. The second made his shoulders shake as silent sobs escaped him. "Thank you," he whispered. "I thought no one cared." Teresa swallowed hard. Her throat ached. "Oh, honey," she murmured, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead. "I care." The waiter returned with a steaming plate, honey-glazed quail, roasted vegetables, fluffy potatoes. The kind of meal most people never even dream of. "Eat as much as you like," Teresa told him softly. "No one here is going to stop you." Eli hesitated. His eyes, still filled with doubt, looked up at her. "But don't you want it?" Teresa smiled faintly. "I've already had more than enough in this life," she said. "Tonight's for you." For a moment, Eli just stared at the plate like he wasn't sure it was real. Then slowly he picked up the fork and took a small bite. His lips quivered. Tears rolled silently down his dirty cheeks. "My mama used to make bread like this," he whispered, his voice barely there, "before she went to heaven." Teresa's breath caught in her throat. Her heart twisted. She leaned in gently. "And your dad?" she asked softly. Eli's eyes dropped to his plate. He shrugged, but his voice cracked. "He left after Mama died, said I was too much trouble." His small shoulders slumped, said somebody else would take care of me, but no one did. For a long moment, Teresa couldn't speak. Memories, dark, cold, painful, flooded her chest. She remembered nights she'd shivered under stairwells, praying for someone, anyone, to care. No one ever had, until now. Teresa reached out and took his tiny hand in hers. It was cold, so small. "Eli," she said softly, her voice thick with emotion, "you are not too much trouble. You are a precious child, and you deserve to be safe and loved." The boy blinked, stunned. "No one's ever said that to me before," he whispered. Across the room, something had shifted. The other diners, those who'd once whispered and judged, were quiet now. Some wiped their eyes. Some looked away, ashamed. Teresa could feel it, but her focus stayed on Eli. She spoke louder this time, her voice shaking but steady. "He's 7 years old," she said to the room. 7. And he's been left out on the streets while we sit here wasting food and pretending not to see. The silence grew heavier. People shifted in their seats. One woman's hands trembled as she dabbed at her eyes. Teresa turned back to Eli and lowered her voice again, just for him. "You don't have to beg anymore. Not ever again. I'm going to take care of you." His little mouth fell open. His eyes filled again. "You mean I can come with you?" "Forever if you want," Teresa whispered, her voice breaking. "We'll get you warm clothes, a bed, and tomorrow, pancakes for breakfast, I promise." For the first time, Eli let out a shaky, tearful laugh. Then, without warning, he threw his thin arms around her waist and buried his face in her silk dress. "I'll be good," he sobbed. "I promise I'll be good." Teresa wrapped her arms around him, holding him tight. "Oh, sweetheart," she whispered, her own tears falling. "You're already good, just the way you are." The patio stayed silent. The clatter of forks, the low hum of conversation, everything had stopped. People stared, but not the way they had before. Something had changed. One young waiter blinked back tears. A woman in pearls covered her mouth, shaking her head. An older gentleman wiped his eyes, silent and still. Teresa gently lifted Eli into her arms. She turned to no one in particular and said softly, but with a quiet power, "He deserves more than a meal." Her voice cracked. "He deserves a life." No one dared argue. As she carried the boy through the courtyard, something remarkable happened. Diners began to rise, one by one, not in protest, not in judgment, but in quiet respect. One man, wordless, pulled out his wallet and placed a crisp $100 bill on her table, along with a small handwritten note, for his future. Teresa didn't stop to look back. She held Eli close, her arms steady, her heart full. Later, as her sleek black car hummed through the city streets, Eli sat curled in the passenger seat, bundled in a warm blanket. His belly was full for the first time in months, his eyes heavy with sleep. "Are you rich?" he asked softly, barely awake. Teresa smiled faintly, brushing a tear from her cheek. "I thought I was," she murmured. "But tonight, I think I finally have something money can't buy." Eli gave a sleepy, sweet smile. "You're the nicest person I've ever met," he whispered, his voice drowsy and warm. Tears stung her eyes all over again. "And you," she said gently, reaching over to squeeze his small hand, "are the bravest little boy I've ever known." The city lights blurred softly past as Eli drifted off to sleep, and for the first time in years, Teresa felt something real, something beautiful, something she thought she'd lost forever: hope. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that remind us of the kindness still alive in this world. Tell us in the comments, have you ever witnessed an act of kindness that changed everything? And where in the world are you listening from? We love hearing from you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep listening.